What if I told you that everything you've been taught about debt is wrong? For most of us, debt is a four-letter word. It's something to be feared, avoided at all costs, a sign that you're living beyond your means. But for the world's wealthiest individuals, debt isn't a trap. It's a tool, a powerful one. While the average person is desperately trying to pay down their credit cards and student loans, billionaires are actively taking on more debt. Not because they have to, but because they want to. They've discovered a secret that turns the entire concept of borrowing on its head. They don't just manage debt, they master it, transforming it from a liability into a high-powered engine for wealth creation. So, how do they do it? How do they borrow millions or even billions and get richer while the rest of us get buried? The answer is simpler than you think, and it lies in understanding the fundamental difference between the debt that enslaves and the debt that liberates. Stick around, because we're about to unravel how billionaires use debt to their advantage, and how you can start applying the same principles to your own financial life. To understand this strategy, you first have to grasp that not all debt is created equal. There's a massive difference between what we'll call bad debt and good debt. Bad debt is probably what you're most familiar with. It's the money you borrow for consumption. Think about credit card debt used for a shopping spree, a fancy vacation, or that new 8K TV you didn't really need. It's financing a lifestyle you can't afford. These things are called depreciating assets. Their value goes down over time. The moment you drive that new car off the lot, it's worth less. That TV will be outdated in a year. Bad debt buys things that lose value, leaving you with nothing but a monthly payment and a higher interest rate. It's a financial treadmill, and it's designed to keep you running in place. Good debt, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It's debt taken on to acquire assets that generate income or increase in value. This is the secret playground of the wealthy. Good debt buys you cash flow. Imagine borrowing money to purchase a rental property. The rent you collect from your tenants doesn't just cover the mortgage payment and other expenses. It puts extra money in your pocket every single month. That's positive cash flow. Or think about taking out a loan to start or expand a business. If that business becomes profitable, the income it generates far outweighs the cost of the loan. Other examples include investing in stocks that pay dividends or buying assets. You are confident will appreciate significantly over time. The core principle is simple. You borrow money to buy something that pays for the debt itself and then some. The asset works for you, paying off the loan while building your net worth. It's a complete mindset shift from "how can I afford this?" to "how can this asset afford itself?" So, how do the super rich put this into practice on a massive scale? They use a powerful strategy we can call the leverage loop. It's a three-step cycle that allows them to accelerate their wealth creation at a dizzying pace. Step 1 is to borrow cheap money. The wealthy have access to incredibly low-interest loans because they have collateral, their existing assets like stocks, real estate, and businesses. Banks see them as low risk and are eager to lend them large sums of money at prime rates, often far lower than the interest rates you get on a credit card or a personal loan. They might secure a loan at, say, 2% or 3% interest. Step 2 is to buy appreciating assets with that borrowed money. They don't let that cash sit in a bank account. They immediately deploy it into assets they expect to grow at a much higher rate than the interest on their loan. For example, they might invest in a portfolio of commercial real estate they project will return 8% annually, or in a growing tech company they believe will yield 15% or more. The difference between their borrowing cost and their investment return is called the spread. If they borrow at 3% and earn 10%, that 7% spread is pure profit, all generated with the bank's money. This is leverage in its purest form, using other people's money to amplify your returns. If you're starting to see how leverage can be a game changer, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel, and we've still got the most powerful part of the loop to cover. The third and final step of the leverage loop is where the magic really happens: tax advantages. This is a crucial piece of the puzzle. When you earn money from a job, you get taxed on that income immediately. But when the wealthy use debt, the game changes. First, the interest they pay on their business or investment loans is often tax-deductible, which lowers their overall tax bill. More importantly, they can often avoid paying taxes on the growth of their assets altogether. How? Instead of selling their appreciated assets to get cash, which would trigger a capital gains tax, they simply borrow against the increased value of those assets. For example, if their real estate portfolio has grown from $10 million to $15 million, they can take out a new, larger loan against that $15 million valuation. A loan isn't considered income, so it's completely tax-free cash. They can then use this tax-free money to live on, or, more likely, to reinvest and start the leverage loop all over again, buying even more assets. This cycle of borrow, buy, and defer taxes allows their wealth to compound at an explosive rate, all while their official taxable income remains surprisingly low. For them, debt isn't a sign of danger, it's a strategic financial instrument, a tool to be wielded with knowledge and discipline. It is clear that billionaires aren't just playing the same financial game as the rest of us with a few more zeros. They are playing an entirely different game, with a different set of rules. They understand that the system can either work against you or work for you. While most people are caught in the debt trap of financing consumption, the wealthy are using debt as a ladder to climb higher. They've turned borrowing from a burden into a booster rocket for their fortunes. The key takeaway here isn't to go out and rack up a mountain of debt tomorrow. That would be reckless. The key is to change your mindset. Start educating yourself. Learn to distinguish good debt from bad debt. Begin to look for opportunities where you can use strategic borrowing to acquire cash-flowing or appreciating assets, even on a small scale. It could be a small investment property, a side business, or even just educating yourself further. The goal is to stop being a pawn in the financial system and start learning the rules so you can play with it, not against it. Learn the system, use the system, and you can begin your own journey to escape the debt trap that holds so many people back. Thanks for watching. If this video opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about money, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into